Today we are here at One Fish, Two Fish in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia to pick up a rather large fish order. Finally home with the fish, and the tank looks like it's cleared up substantially, which is great because all of the fish are going in here at first. All 142 of them. We're going to put all of them in here all at once, simply because with this type of fish, we're going to experience a little bit of die-off. So they'll stay in here for like 24 to 48 hours, and then half will be moved down to the bottom tank just for dilution in biomass. Before we open this box though, we should probably talk about how I came to this conclusion of why I picked these and exactly which aquarium they're going in. So in thinking of what fish I want to put in the 2000, we've obviously got a large amount of relatively big fish. I mean, look at the size of the ultims. Look at the coloration they're putting on. Not to mention the geophagus. The geophagus are around 10 inches long, so that gives you a little bit of perspective. We do have a pair of electric blue acaras back there. We still have everybody that was in here originally, but we do have breeding going on in this tank. You can see a pair of severums over there with a large cluster of babies that hatched. This is the 5th time, I believe, the severums have laid eggs and babies. I've been filming that and documenting it for you, and I want to put that out in a future video. I'm just doing this one on my phone because I actually have to run to the fish store to get more fish. The beginning of this video was actually filmed 2 weeks ago. So we'll be able to go back down and check out, after we do this unboxing, see how those fish are doing. But when you think about this tank, we've got enough big fish. These guys are probably maxed out, the severums as well as the geophagus, but these ultims are not. And we're still going to be adding in about a dozen or 14 more acaras. We have some more blues as well as yellows. But the number one thing I thought was, I was thinking I might add a couple of big fish up here. And then I thought, no, wouldn't it be super cool with hundreds of tetras? But what type of tetra can go in there? Sometimes angels will eat neons. These guys certainly will. So I have to find a tetra that gets really big, yet really colorful. And then I realized I'm not going to be able to find a tetra that makes sense for this tank that's actually from South America. So we're going to have to break the mold of this tank, which is a South American themed tank, and go with something from Africa. And the number one fish that I've been wanting to keep for a while is the Congo tetra. We've talked about that a few times. You guys were entirely and super excited about me doing it. But the Congo tetra is not cheap. It's hard to find them in large numbers. And because the Congo tetra gets up to be about 3 inches, I'm not so sure we need 500 of them. I'm thinking closer to 1 to 200. And if we had 1 to 200, they're going to spend most of their time near the top of the tank and schooling together. I think that it would be the perfect addition for this aquarium. So that's what I ended up ordering. Now, let's go see how they turned out. Oh. That's incredible. These guys are kind of small right now. There's medication in the bag just to treat them. It's almost like relaxes them, but no floaters. I do expect to lose a few over the next 24 to 48 hours, but that's to be expected when you order 142 tetras. Why 142? Well, simply put, that's all they had. I wiped them out. This is a true schooling fish. They will stick together. They do better with each other. The males get bigger and more beautiful. These guys will get a lot bigger. They're only about 1 inch in length right now. It does look like we have a mixture of males and females. How do you decipher male from female? Obviously the male gets bigger. Obviously the male is prettier, but the male also develops elongated trailers on its tail and sometimes its dorsal fin, where it's almost like a long fin tetra but tattered. Looks absolutely gorgeous. These guys live longer than a normal tetra as well. They are omnivores though, and they will eat darn near anything offered. I'm super excited to see. So 3 inches, you can think about your pinky. The average hand is usually, the pinky's about 3 inches long. Imagine 140, 120 probably in the 2000. It should look absolutely phenomenal. They should fill out the tank beautifully. But first, as always, they have to go through quarantine. And one of the things I'm going to do before I dump all these guys in and give you guys a closer look is I've been using this Purelize. We used it in a past video. I only need 3 capfuls of it. So the Purelize, in Canada, we don't have access to real medications, but we can use other things. And this has proved to be incredibly useful with the aquarium. You guys remember we had ick in that tank. We had an outbreak. We treated it with salt and high temperatures. But then I added this in because it paralyzes the ick, so it just falls off. The ick can no longer mobilize itself to attach to the fish and essentially starves to death. So if these guys have ick with that Purelize in there, we'll see what happens, because we get 142 examples of fish that likely will have ick. So the plop and drop method is simple. We do it with stingrays, and by we, I mean me. We do it with stingrays, we do it with rainbows, we do it with discus, we do it with Asian arowana. Regardless of the value of the fish, get them out of the bag. I don't care how long it's taken. If I were to float this bag in the water, because we're so concerned about temperature, a lot of people open the bag. What happens when you open the bag? Well, during shipment, and these guys have been in shipment for about 36 hours, they're producing ammonia, they're consuming oxygen within the tank. And while they're consuming oxygen, because of course, this bag was never this, flexible, but as they're consuming all that oxygen, lower CO2 lowers the pH. At a lower pH, ammonia is less deadly. But what happens when we open that bag? We introduce a tremendous amount of atmospheric air, which allows for gas exchange at the surface of the bag, which enables the water to exchange all that CO2 and resaturate itself with O2. So all that ammonia that they're producing now becomes toxic, because ammonia is more toxic at pH over 7 versus under. So with fish shipments that take 8 hours plus, plop and drop every single time. So what we're going to do is, I like to cut from the corners. A lot of people like to cut from the top, but the fish always go to the corners. Some bags don't have corners anymore, but this one does. I open the corner. The pH, that fluctuation in what I was talking about doesn't happen like this. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. But I still, once I cut that corner open, I'm still going to grab the corner to kind of seal it off. Shake the bag abundantly. There's always stragglers. Double check, make sure nobody's in there. And these guys are ready to go in. All these fish, all that money, and there's not even, it doesn't even look like there's that many. 142 is what they claimed. I feel like there's 20 in there. I think that I could potentially lose some. Of course, being added to new water parameters can always be potentially stressful on a fish. You can explore the idea of the drip method. I find plop and drop method always works for me. But when I get 100 plus tetras or rainbows, and you guys see me do a number of things, I always account for upwards of 25% loss. This looks absolutely fantastic, but they can't go into the 2000 right now. They have got to go through quarantine, not only to account for losses, not only to ensure there's no transmission of disease, but most importantly, I want to put a little size on these guys before they go in the 2000, because the geophagus are a little bit ET at times. So 2 weeks later, you can see we've had well, I don't know if you counted them previously, but we've had 0 losses. They're all still here. I've decided to just keep them in this tank simply because they're doing so good. The tank is mechanically filtered. We might be moving them into a bigger tank here shortly, but if we kind of take a closer look at some of them, it looks to me as like we do have a good mix of males and females, but they are relatively small right now, probably about an inch. I'd like them to get to about 2 inches, but can you imagine 142 of them swimming around in that 2000? I think it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. I will say we've had 0 losses, which has been the first time I've had over 100 tetras imported and have 0 losses. I'm not so sure if it was a great shipment and or it was that Purelize we added, but I'm definitely going to continue to add it to the tanks and the quarantines just to give me that added reassurance. We've had no ick, no nothing, but just because the first 2 weeks went well doesn't mean that the ick won't show up in 4 weeks. So we'll be quarantining for 6 weeks total. Again, it's been about 2 weeks since we've had them, and it's just gone really, really well. I can't wait to see these guys in action. I mean, even having 12 of these in a tank is just glorious and gorgeous. So imagine over 100. In fact, I've never seen 100 plus Congo tetras as adults in a tank at one time. With that said, technically it still leaves us room to add in some other types of South American fish. So if you have suggestions on what I could do or should do that get a little bit bigger and won't eat these guys and are peaceful, let me know in the comment section below. I have been thinking maybe I will get some waru, but there goes the plants, but we'll see. The plants in the 2000 aren't doing the greatest right now, but that has everything to do with the lights. We'll go out there and check them out right now, so I can just kind of talk about that as well. So while the fish in here are obviously doing incredibly well, the entire tank is just doing absolutely phenomenally. The plants are not. Obviously, the fish, we could tell that they're doing great because we do have some breeding going on. We have 2 pairs of Sevrums. The Geophagus haven't laid in this tank yet, but it will come in time. The plants aren't doing the greatest, and I would say it's probably because of the lights. It's just a bunch of strip lights that I tossed on here, hoping that this would work. Obviously, that's an ugly setup, but within the next, I believe it's in about 2 days, I'll receive a shipment of 150 watt LED spotlights. And we're going to test them and see if they work, because they're only 30 bucks a pop. And if they work, then I think you guys would enjoy using them as well. Maybe get a little less wattage, but you got to remember we're going through almost 4 feet of water. And this is why I didn't want to do, I had second thoughts about turning it into a piranha tank, is because, well, the lights probably wouldn't have been able to penetrate at all. But isn't this tank gorgeous? The Geophagus and the Ultims just kind of stick around. The lights just came on about 20 minutes ago, so the Ultims aren't getting their dark stripes right now. They're a little stressed out, but when they color up, oh my, it is absolutely beautiful. Just completely and totally stunning. And I can't wait to add in all of these Congos. Wait, do you have eggs too over there? But these are the electric blue Acara, and it's almost as if they're about 3.5, 4 inches, but the adult Congos will get almost as big as that. So imagine 140 of them kind of swimming throughout this tank, beautifully colored, displaying, absolutely active. And I can't wait for that to happen. But obviously, got to be responsible and go through the quarantine process. However, I did buy us a couple weeks that you guys don't have to wait, that I have to sit here and wait. Anyways, if you want to see them added to the tank and watch this tank develop, especially if these plants pick up in life, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about the fish selection. Many of you guys wanted me to do that before, so we finally did get the Congos, and I think it's going to be the perfect fish for this aquarium. See you in the next video.